Hello, welcome to Quackalope. Thank you for joining us. Today we are going to be opening up a little game called Tinner's Trail by Alley Cat.
And Martin Wallace. This was actually published, I believe, around 8 years ago and has now been reprinted by Alley Cat Games.
With one of the most beautiful little cover videos I ever saw on Kickstarter, where I've had that voice ringing in my head for a while that said something like, "You, a tinner." Like you're on your quest to become a tinner, and it's like this hopeful journey of a tinner, and it's like it just has this ringing like European tone to it.
And the other thing that players might be interested in, it now has a solo mode and goes up to 5 players as well, and has a few little expansions in there.
So, like always in our unboxing videos, one of us knows enough about this game to talk about it as we pull it out, and I am going to look for flavor text. Come on, Nails, I've been growing you. Ha ha! They worked.
What? Spidey! His senses were tingling. No, you're not going to put that in my mouth. Are you going to put the tinfoil in my mouth? Ridiculous. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Okay, there's your... There it is. There it is.
Tinner's Trail is set in Cornwall during the early 19th century and focuses on tin and copper mining industries that made the country famous. It was during this century that Cornwall became one of the most important mining operations in the world. It preceded the tin that was used in many alloys and the copper that was used in the clad ships of the Royal Navy. It was the demand for more efficient water pumps in the mines that led to the development of steam engines, which in turn led to the first steam trains. Arsenic was a valuable byproduct widely used in a variety of other industries, especially that in the emerging... especially that in the emerging... what do you call like a mass killer, mass murderer?
What? A serial killer?
Yes, especially that in the emerging serial killer epidemic. It's arsenic. Isn't that like a poison? It's like a.
Oh, okay. Now I get where you're getting.
Will totally kill you thing. Let's see here. Especially emerging in the cotton industry in Lancashire. When Cornish mining went into decline, Cornishmen moved around the world, taking their valuable skills with them and helping shape the modern world of mining. The name of the game refers to the long walks that the miners had to make from their homes to the mines. The path to the mines would be known locally as the Tinner's Trail.
And speaking of mass murderers, that is actually one of the additional elements or mini expansions that are getting included. Yeah. You take your little mass murderer and you send him in little trails across the city.
I don't think this is what Alley Cat signed up for when...
the Arsenic expansion is a new thing within the remastered, or what was it, revised edition?
Yeah.
Remastered edition of Tinner's Trail.
New artwork, some new upgraded components.
Speaking of new artwork, probably one of the best pieces of artwork in the entirety of the game board.
I mean, it's mostly the game.
Well,
it's a Euro.
This
it's a Euro. So like this is the game.
But it's quite colorful. Pops right out of the cardboard. You know, it's quite engaging.
It's lovely. Okay, we got some buildings. We got some punch boards. We got some cards. What is going on here?
Oh gosh, you're combining all the expansion things, Jesse. This is going to be the Immigrant Expansion. Okay. In the original game, you had workers, and those workers could go into different mining sections and take out a few additional resources for every miner that you had there. Now you have the option of having your own kind of private workforce, which are the immigrants that you can send over to these different areas in USA, Mexico, Africa, and Australia in order to get different types of resources that will apply throughout different types of rounds. This one will get you different types of developments. I believe this is going to be victory points. This is additional income that you can make, and this allows you to kind of fluctuate the value of each one of either, copper and I'm just going to say, I forgot the term, copper and whatever other material you're doing.
Probably tin.
Tin, tin, yes, copper and tin.
Okay.
And you're able to fluctuate those prices a little bit better every round, which is kind of interesting. So that's going to be one of the mini expansions that's included in the Kickstarter. This is one of the ways that the game always ends up variable play to play. every round, and every game is composed of 4 rounds, you're going to have different things called developments. And depending on the round where you're at, those are the types of developments that are going to be available. Depending on how many symbols are shown in each one of these rows, those are the types of meeples or, little wooden pieces that you're going to put here that will later be transferred onto the board if you decide to take the different types of actions. And speaking of, Jesse, I don't think we've even explained the game yet.
We haven't, no.
Okay, is that a cue for me to explain said game?
Oh, I just wanted to look at things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But isn't the whole point
tiny
of the...
little train meeples.
Tiny little tin, tiny tin in the tiny boxes. Oh, the tiny tin. Tiny tin. Actually, are there meeples for tin and copper, or is it just cubes?
Tiny little tiny meeples.
It's a tiny tin. It's a tiny tin. Ooh, tiny tin. I think this is another expansion.
Tiny little tin is going to...
the tiny workers. It's the tiny little workers. Tiny tin. Okay, so those are going to be the standard workers. So for example, Jesse, if we are in the first round, we would have 2 tiny tin little workers available for people to purchase. No, they're not candy. However, these are. That's candy. Fantastic. Yeah, those are edible. Edible dice. It's a new innovation within Alley Cat Games. It's a wonderful thing. You can try it yourself at home.
Colorful little tin workers.
Those are going to be the specific workers for the Immigrant Expansion. And let's go a little bit back and start explaining the game for those of you that are not familiar with the Martin Wallace Tinner's Trail.
Yep.
In this game, this board is going to be populated with these tiles. These are your mines. Some of these tiles are going to be face up and face down, but the important thing of each of these tiles is that they're going to denote a number on them, which is the amount of resources that you can get. The objective of this game is that you're trying to accumulate copper and tin in order to sell it at the market to cash in victory points. At the end of the 4th round, whatever player was able to best kind of sway the market and invest in the proper materials at the right time will ultimately be the victor of the game. Every round is going to be composed of you taking actions, and each one of those actions costing a certain amount of work points, aka action points. Each one of those types of actions that you can do are already pre-printed on this board, and it shows you right underneath each one of those actions how many action points they take. Why is that important? Well, first of all, you're going to notice this track has a lot of small spaces, rows and columns, etc., etc. Do we have the piece? Find me circles. Those. Open that one up so we can explain this a little bit better. Just a tiny little bit, tiny better. So, these are going to be our players. This is going to be, I believe, our round marker. Every player is going to have one of these pieces, and every time they take an action, they tick this forward. So if they were to take this action right here, they would move that right there. And then let's say that the subsequent player would then do that action. They would move one space forward and then kind of go all the way up.
Yep.
Why is that important? Well, that means that whoever is at the last end of this section or this table goes first immediately.
Turn order.
And you can consume this as much as you can. When you reach the end of this track, you will then once again start in the future and be the first person to start kind of deciding different or future portions of the game. And similar to other Martin Wallace games, your scoring and your currency is all going to be tracked on this outside board.
Yep.
So as soon as you start gaining money, you'll move a square token here. When you start gaining victory points, you'll move another circular token there. And what you're trying to do throughout the game is trying to find the proper mines to invest in, sending your different developments to those mines in order to take out materials the most efficient way possible, because this is simulating a little bit of how mining works. Each one of these different locations also is going to have water, and water makes it a lot more expensive for us to get tin and copper, which is what we need to win the game.
It sort of gets in the way.
It does get in the way. So every time that you were to, let's say, a mine tin from this location, for every water cube that is there, you have to
send an extra worker in order so they can drink it.
Close. You have to spend money. Additional money.
To hire people to drink it.
Yes, exactly. But the water stays there, kind of like accumulates again, so it's just temporary. So for every blue cube, it's going to cost you more. The developments, what they do is that they're going to let you take out water from the game. Tunnel is going to let you take out water from 2 adjacent locations. The railroad track is going to be able to take out well, basically all the water in all the locations that are adjacent to it. And then the seaports are going to let you take out, I believe, 2 cubes or 1 cube. It's something like that.
It's going to be these guys right here, the
exactly.
little boats.
Yep. And so you're kind of working the entire game, the entire portion of whatever you're playing, to try and do that. Find the most efficient engine, develop the right developments of the right locations at the right times in order to capitalize on the highest selling goods to then make the most amount of victory points.
Yeah, I mean, at its heart, this is going to be a classic Euro approach to a game, right? It's going to be that Euro style where you're doing your very best to build an economic engine that rewards you for being as efficient as possible. The thing I was compelled by is not only the theme and the art, but also a tiny little tinner walking down. For some reason, I am so engrossed and compelled with the idea of this little mining and operations game. Like, I like Euros, I like economic games. I understand that's the puzzle we're approaching, but I really am just genuinely charmed by the aesthetic, the theme. The production quality is lovely right now. I'm really excited to play this one. Ever since it was on Kickstarter, it's been on my mind.
So I'm assuming that you're adding your own house rule where you start with a tinner on the actual map and you go like, I'm going to do the thing.
Something like that.
And what are these songs?
What are these cards over here?
One of the elements that I hadn't talked about yet of the actual game is that it moves through what's also called auctions. These mines are going to be littered across the board, and some of them are going to be face down. You're trying to purchase rights to go and
actually do the mining at that location?
Yes.
Interesting. So you're kind of like, you're not just a lonely tinner.
You're not.
Sort of the development faction.
We are not the tinners.
I know. We're like hiring the tinners and sending them out.
We command.
Which, to me, thematically, is a little bit less fun. I sort of just wanted
That's what I'm saying.
I wanted to be the gentleman that you saw on the cover of the box.
Yeah, you want to be the little tinner. That's why the house rule.
Yes.
Start making up rules for that. It'll be great. So the way that the auctions are going to work is that you can choose a location with, there's a particular marker, whatever, with a marker, let's call it this one, and that's where the auction will start. Yep. Every player can use the money that they've accumulated to start doing that. However, if you have the card that corresponds to the location that you are auctioning, you can do 2 things. First of all, you'll notice that each one of these tiles are double-sided. One side is going to have a printed value, and the other side is going to be completely empty. If you go into a mine to an auction unprepared, you're not going to know what you're bidding for.
Yeah.
However, if you play the appropriate card with the correct with the correct letter behind it, you're able to take a peek and know what you want to do for that auction. And the other interesting thing is that you immediately set the auction price with that card played. So it just gives you a little bit of an additional information. And speaking of additional, it also adds whatever resources are printed on said card.
Nice.
So if you were to win this and you played the C card, you would get 6 copper, 3 tin, and then 4 water, which is a lot.
You'd have to deal with 4 water.
Exactly. But remember, you can use your developments to get that water out of there.
Anything really... I mean, you know this game a lot better than I do at this point, which I think is obvious to the audience as they're watching.
Oh, no, I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Anything you're super excited about? I mean, I know you like Euros like I do. I don't know if you're as captivated by the theme and the aesthetic of it as I am.
Dude, it's Martin Wallace.
Yes.
Do you know what other game Martin Wallace is on?
No.
Okay. Because I was gonna challenge you.
I know the name. I have no idea what game you designed.
Brass.
Oh, you love Brass.
Yes.
You love Brass.
Yes, I do. This is another industrial-themed Martin Wallace game.
I thought Brass was very solid, and I'm excited to play it again.
I don't like that sentence at all.
No, I lost horrifically the first time I played. Okay. I invested in locations that allowed my opponent to take advantage of what I'd built, which resulted in me basically driving the economic engine of the other player.
Did you perchance play thematically? Because that could have been your Achilles heel right there, buddy.
Damn.
So yes, I'm very excited just because it's a Martin Wallace game. From the overviews that I've seen and kind of like the very brief rules reading that I did, I was also quite captivated with the mechanics. I'm excited to see what the Arsenic expansion, which is... right here.
That little one.
Which is that little board there, is going to add to the game. Kind of what makes Brass to me so special is what came after the original edition, right? My favorite version of Brass is going to be Birmingham, right? Which includes beer, and it's just like that tiny little bit of spice
It
in
twists
there.
the market a little bit, which looks like what the arsenic expansion is doing as well. When it
Might
comes to,
do, yep.
Which it comes to like introducing and producing arsenic, which can be a valuable commodity to the rest of the globe.
And the immigrant expansion might be cool too. At the end of the day, I think that the remastered is super welcome. I'm very excited to see how this is actually going to come down into the table and be. And I'm planning on playing with all the expansions out the gate.
No,
immediately.
I'm excited to get to the table. We wanted to unbox this quickly. We just got it in a day or two ago, and I am ready to sit down and play. So, thank you for watching. We're gonna go set this up. You're not gonna say anything else?
Oh, we're going to the Tinder Trail, the Tinder Trail, oh, the Tinder Trail, the Tinder Trail. We're going to the hole.
That's not
Oh,
how we
we're
end.
going
That's not how
down
we
the
end.
hole and down the cave we
That's not how
go.
we end.
And then we hope we die. We go
We
a
end-
water hole.
We end the videos with. Well, whatever you do, remember to do the important thing.
And go down your Tinder Trail, everybody. Catch you guys next time.
But I don't want to make fun of it. I genuinely go watch that video on their Kickstarter page. It's like this echoing your walk the Tinner's Trail.
It's Tinder's Trail.
It's just beautiful.
Tinder's Trail.
It's just beautiful.
Oh no! Why?